From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Urban Outlook.
Hello and welcome to Urban Outlook. I'm April Eaton. Thank you so much for being with us today. Here are some facts about women and substance abuse. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, 15.8 million women, and these are ages 18 and older, have used illicit or illegal drugs in the past year. 4.6 million women have misused prescription drugs in the past year. Again, that's according to the Department of Health. And the Centers for Disease Control says every 3 minutes a woman goes to the emergency room for prescription painkiller misuse or abuse. There is help available, and I know you know that, but there are a number of programs out there. One in particular, called The Next Door, is an area program that's attempting to turn these numbers around and help women and families that are behind some of those numbers. So please welcome to the show Patience Ruffin, who is the Director of Clinical Services for The Next Door, and Sierra Collier, who is Clinical Systems there at The Next Door. So thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So you heard the numbers, the facts. Some may be shocked that so many women are finding themselves needing this assistance, needing some help, falling victim to abuse of some sort. But tell us the real deal. What's really happening out there, maybe countrywide, but also more specifically here in Tennessee?
So in Tennessee, or countrywide actually, because if you look, those are national numbers. Women are complex, right? We are not saying men aren't, but women are complex. And they have many roles that they have to take on daily: mom, wife, sister, friend, and society puts these stereotypes out there that you have to look a certain way, be a certain way. And so what happens so often is that women take on all of that. However, they don't reach back out for the help they need to manage, right? To survive. I want to be all the things that my husband, my children, my family want me to be. However, I'm not getting any support from anywhere else. So when they lack those coping skills to deal with all of the stress that comes along with that, they reach out for substances. And it could be, a lot of times, our women that come in the door, just recreational or just to get over the hump usage, right? To stay awake or to be thin or something very simple. And then what happens is that one-time use or that weekend use turns into daily use, which turns into unmanageable use because I don't have the coping skills to deal with all the pressures that society or family or I put on myself. And we see a lot of that at The Next Door, where we treat women.
What has happened along the way that the stresses have gotten so great? Is it that we are trying to be that perfect person in life, that we do bring it on ourselves? Or is it just that pressure just sort of is so overwhelming that there's no other way to deal, do you think?
I think that addiction has been present. I think now we are just shining a light on it more.
Gotcha.
I think where people were suffering in silence before, shh, don't tell. We keep it quiet. We don't let other people know what's going on in our homes. Now, because there are resources out there, or now we are seeing more issues in ERs, and primary care physicians are seeing their patients who are abusing substances, that now there's just more talk about it. And so I don't think really addiction is this new thing. I think that now we're just giving more attention to it.
But many of us, and I'm going to take a guess here, but we watched our great-grandmothers and our grandmothers and our own moms be those strong, powerful women in the family, right, to run the show. And they were able to manage just fine. So then do we find ourselves questioning why we may not be able to manage the way we saw those women in our lives manage it?
I think that is a huge factor. When we start to feel the stressors of life fall upon us, and I think expectations have changed a bit over the years, that more women are working outside of the home, more women are getting higher levels of education, more women are doing things out in the community. So I think those expectations have changed, and then we look at ourselves feeling tired, right? Working mom's guilt or things like that, and we are questioning, well, why can't I do it? Why can't I have it all? What's wrong with me, right? Because we do have our mothers, grandmothers who were doing those specific things. And so I think some of it is society, because there's more access to, you know, every celebrity's life and things like that that are unrealistic. You know,
we think we know these people,
exactly.
right?
They're our friends. They're our best friends.
And we have to live like them too.
Exactly. Right? These false expectations start
Yes.
to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that is what we're starting to see more in the community, because Sierra and I can both speak to, it's so interesting that our client base is getting younger and younger coming in the door.
Well, that could be a good thing and a scary thing, I think. Good thing that they have found the resource to get the help early on. But the younger numbers tell me that we've got women who are suffering at much younger ages. So that's even more telling, I think.
Definitely.
Your opinion?
Yeah, I agree. I think the clientele that we see now, it gets younger, and we're like, what do we do in this situation?
So does that mean that starting in middle school, high school, in some of those school ages, they're struggling then?
So it can start there.
Okay.
We serve women starting at age 18.
Yeah.
So they have to be an adult to be in our program. But there are adolescent programs in the community that if you are starting at that age, you can seek treatment as well.
Because it doesn't just start at 18. You
No.
have to think that it was starting before then,
Right. You have to do a history and figure out what happened over the course of this person's life that got them to this place. And sometimes we just start there to go to the past and look at different situations in their life.
So talk about the Next Door and the help that you provide. You've been around for 11 years in this community, doing good, helping women through some tough times, I'm sure. How does it all work when you come to you?
Okay, well, so we have a continuum of services that we offer at the Next Door. We are really, we have an 82-bed facility right off of Charlotte Avenue, and we go from medical detox to residential to outpatient services. We also have some medical services that we provide in-house. And to get to our program, it just starts with a phone call. It could be a phone call from the person who's seeking services, or maybe a parent, or a referral source, another agency, community, or something like that. And we'll get the client on the phone and do a phone screener from there. And usually with the phone screener, we'll have a pretty good idea that we could admit that person into our program. So we'll set up an appointment for them to come in, and we do an intake, and then that determines their level of care, and then they're in our program.
Do women have to be referred to the program, or can a woman say, hey, I'm struggling, I need to get help, and admit herself?
Both.
Okay.
So they can come in self-referral. We take self-referrals all the time, and you can be referred by someone else.
Gotcha. And then so I'm sure it's not an easy feat to make that first step. So how do you talk to women about the fact that, you know, you've got to take that leap. You've got to try. You've got to, I know, they've got to have their head in the game is what I'm thinking. But how do you get them there?
Right. So it starts again on the phone, talking to the woman, and just really at a state of desperation for some of the women.
So they've hit rock bottom.
They've hit rock bottom.
But they all say
they know they need help. They may be, you know, weighing back and forth, swaying back and forth to figure out, am I going to really seek this help?
Yeah.
I know this is here for me, but will I really walk through the door and get that help? So sometimes it starts with encouragement, just letting them know there is hope, maybe talking to another peer that's been in the same place that they've been in to just tell them, you know, there is hope for the other side. Just really trying to help them play that tape all the way through. What could happen if their life were to change, and what if they weren't actively using drugs or alcohol in the next 2 weeks? How would that really change your family dynamic or in your life? So really just showing them that there is hope there. You just got to trust us to get to that place.
I know there's some myths about addiction. There's some fears about even starting the process. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to sort of tackle some of those topics as well. We'll be right back after this.